is South Florida One, and I am your hostess, the Gold TA 70s chick here again for another half-hour album review. And I've got an interesting album to cover today, as well as the group. Nobody's probably ever heard of this, except maybe some people, maybe way back when, maybe a few, because this group, I think, had a little bit of a cult following. Anyway, the name of the group is Bloodrock. And they were straight out of Fort Worth, Texas, and they were one of the bands that were produced by Terry Knight, who produced Grand Funk Railroad as well. And it's unfortunate that they never really hit that status that Grand Funk Railroad did, because they were just as heavy as, and Grand Funk was like maybe considered the first real heavy metal band, although Bloodrock was a lot harder. They were a cross between Black Sabbath and Deep Purple, and very hard rocking. I'm going to cover their self-titled album today. I'm just going to get in depth a little bit of what the group was like and their self-titled first album. This is it, and I've covered this in my 1970 video. And there's some interesting names of the songs that I'm going to cover. In the liner notes, let's see, the heaviest rock band of all time, some of the critics call them. And Texas had been left out of the rock scene for too long, and Bloodrock were obviously thirsting for blood. And they also had, even though their first album didn't really hit the charts, it was very low on the charts. And their second album, called Bloodrock-a, was a big seller, went to number 26, largely due to their only top 40 hit that hit number 36 in early 1971. It was called DOA. And you should go on YouTube and look up Bloodrock, DOA. And it's a very spooky, funereal sounding song, roughly about someone who was involved in a plane crash and all the aftermath, his thoughts, like his very thoughts going through his head, talking pretty much from the view of a corpse. And it's very, hardly anybody probably even remembers that song. I know as a kid, I grew up and I heard a lot of songs on the radio. I've been a music buff since I was 3. And of course, I don't remember ever hearing that, but it did hit the top 40, and it was covered on the Casey Kasem's American Top 40 for certain weeks. He does that, and I used to listen. Big 106 used to always have that too. Like I always tune in for the 70s, and then they stopped, and now they're 102.7 The Beat or The Beach or whatever, something stupid. But anyway, yeah, it's very. You'll be left when you hear it. You'll be left open mouth. Believe me, it's quite a trip. And anyway, the first song I'm going to play, it's called "Gotta Find a Way," and it's kind of has the same riff over and over again, kind of, and it's kind of goes a little too far. It's 6.5 minutes long, but it's still a heavy song. And in the beginning, I'm going to let you hear there's some backwards masking in the beginning for the first minute and a half. And what it is, it says, anyone who is stupid enough to play this record backwards deserves what he is about to hear. And there's excerpts from a poem by Lewis Carroll called Jabberwocky. And Jabberwocky, as you know, was a character in Alice in Wonderland. So this is one of the heaviest songs on the CD. And I'm just going to play this, and I'm going to go by a lot of the other songs. I'm going to play another favorite of mine called Wicked Truth, which is, I think, my favorite song on the album. Anyway, let's take a listen. Here we go. They're like proto-metal with acid influences. And again, it's, like I said, this, and it ends at 1 minute and 30 seconds. But you got to hear, hopefully you can hear where the backward masking is. And I love this organ. What's that mean? buy that, Slim Pickens. Like I said, this band never got the recognition they deserved. Oh, here it is. You don't know. Whatever. Well, you can barely hear it, really. But the first, if you check it out on YouTube, Bloodrock-a, Find a Way, you'll hear it. It's one of my favorites on that album. Anyway, and then there's other songs on the album. One of them's called Castle of Thoughts, and it seems to be, when you read the lyrics, it seems to be about somebody trying to maybe escape their negativity and their despair, and it kind of, let's see where it is. Castle full of thoughts here. See, like I said, you can hear kind of a little bit of the Deep Purple influence and a lot of the organ, which is what one of my favorite. I always loved the early 70s with the Hammond B3 organ and so forth. Oh, thanks, thanks, Dana. This is an unusual album. As you know, you probably never knew this about me, did you? What a eclectic eclectic musical taste that I have. I've always been a music buff. But anyway, this song is called Castle of Thoughts. And again, the lyrics are as follows. Oh, wait, they're not here. What am I talking about? I read them on YouTube. Duh. He's talking about, I think, being in the center of negativity and trying to release it and trying to escape his despair. And there's another song called Fatback, which describes a girl. When I read the lyrics, is about a girl he couldn't have. Timepiece is about a man on death row. And one of my favorites is Wicked Truth, that I'm going to play for you in a few minutes. Actually, too, they had 4 albums before they disbanded. Well, they disbanded in 1972, and they came back in 1974 with a couple of thanks, Slim Pickens. You crack me up. Excuse me. But the albums Passage and Whirlwind Tongues were horrible. They had a new lead singer, and more likely than not, the case is when bands lose their original lead singer, they kind of go down the tubes, except for maybe a handful of groups that kind of like are the same. They still sound good no matter what the lead singer is, because a lot of times the artists, like the band members, sometimes have a good, like if Bloodrock probably would have, gone along the same musical direction and they had a new lead singer, it probably still would have been as good, but even though maybe a little different, because of course you're used to the lead singer. Like, can you picture the Rolling Stones without Mick Jagger or Aerosmith without Steven Tyler? No, I didn't think so. And fantastic piece of architecture is another one, where this man builds a huge mansion, a huge masterpiece, never sets foot in it. He always kind of stares at it and looks at it and admires it for years, and the years go by and he's an old man. He decides to go into the mansion, and first thing he does, he walks in the door, he drops dead, which, I don't know, that's just kind of not really predictable, but it's like, why would you never even set foot in something that you built? And there's another song that I don't understand. I don't know if it's somebody talking about missed opportunities or I don't know what, but the name of the song is called Melvin Laid an Egg. That one is the heaviest songs. I think they're all pretty heavy, but more hard rock. But the heaviest ones are the one I played called Gotta Find a Way. Then there's this one of my favorites is called Wicked Truth. And that's number 6. Here we go. Love the drum beat in that. And I'm wondering where Lee is. I told him I'd be online at 1:30. Maybe he had technical difficulties again. It happens. Hey, where are you going? Hey, where are you going? I like this. The lead singer trades vocals with another one of the members here. Sometimes I think that's so cool. I know, cliched expression. But anyway, yeah, too bad their albums before they broke up for good were, like I said, Passage and Whirlwind Tongues, and they were like bad jazz, bad way too poppy and watered down. I tried to give it a try. I listened to some of the songs on Amazon. Where they have where you can listen to pieces like excerpts of them, and I'm like, no, that's just not going to work. So anyway, actually, too, a lot of times when you mention this band to people, say, hey, have you ever heard of Bloodrock? And that song DOA that came out in early '71 about a plane crash, they'll probably look at you like you're nuts. The only reason why I came upon this band is I was looking through like some of my, I always had these books like about top 40 hits and like that mention certain groups. I'm like, Bloodrock, DOA, what is that? Dead or Alive? I used to think it was, but it's Dead on Arrival. So I'm going through and I'm checking out. I'm like, oh, I want to check out this band. So I look on Amazon. I'm like, man, this is pretty cool because I like this. It's from the early '70s. Like I said, this has kind of, actually, too, a lot of their other, every four of their albums is kind of like a different sound. Like this one's more harder rocking, more like kind of proto metal. The next one, Bloodrock 2, that had that top 40 hit DOA, went to number 26, and it was the only album that hit the top 40 and top 40 albums. And that had some heavy, like DOA is very, very spooky, kind of Black Sabbath sounding. Like they said, the Sabbath and the Deep Purple. Definitely check that one out if you haven't heard it. And that one's probably more hard rock influenced. Bloodrock 3 was a little bit more mature sounding, kind of hard rock with a little bit of jazz kind of in there, tinged in a lot of their songs. And Bloodrock USA had a very bad album cover. It was this guy that looked like Captain America. And it's weird. It's like, I know this sounds pretty gruesome, Dana, but it's like a bullet going through the head. It's artwork. But yeah, it's pretty. Yeah, these people this band tried to kind of live up to their name. I don't know where they got Bloodrock from, but whatever. And Bloodrock USA is kind of like a hard rock, kind of a little more radio friendly sounding, but not really quite pop. That's another one I like. But then after that, they were just plain bad. Yeah, right. But anyway, a lot of these bands, and like I said, they're out of Fort Worth, Texas, and the producer was Terry Knight, and he, of course, was the producer of. Well, he was pushing. This sounds like Donald Duck. Well, if you listen closely, even somebody commented on YouTube that this song, if you listen to it, it's like around the 3 minutes and 45-second mark. If you listen closely, it sounds like Donald Duck singing. Someone even commented this on YouTube, and I'm listening. I'm like, oh my God, he's right. But anyway, as Terry Knight was pushing Grand Funk Railroad into the forefront, and they were million seller. I mean, sellout concerts. They even outdrew the Beatles at the Shea Stadium in 1971. I mean, and the critics hated them, of course. Any band I think that come through really, really big like they did, or like maybe Chicago in the beginning, critics always hate them. I don't know why, but well, this one really wasn't in the forefront, so I would imagine that. Well, I like this ending. Love that. This one is Gimme Your Head. Oh, let me play Fatback. I like Fatback. It has like a jazzy kind of feel to it. That piano. And Fatback, what I can gather from the lyrics, it's about a guy that just can't get the girl. Sometimes I like when people can do that. They can take a simple sounding, and they can put it into lyrics. I've tried to maybe write my own lyrics. I'm not good at it. And it's funny, us Pisces are supposed to be poetic, and we know how to write poetry. Not me. But you'll be, on a side note, I know this is kind of going off the rails here, off the path, but I actually practiced my bass, Dana, to one of Arthur's songs that he made up. What he does is he takes all this hold music, or this one actually he made up. It was about these restaurants he visited that he was getting revenge on. And one of those songs that he made up a song to, I was doing the bass to, And I came up with it, and I went along to the bass, I found all the sounds, and I sent it to him. He was really impressed, but I have a long way to go. But anyway, let's see what I can gather from here. Well, anyway, again, there's the cover. Rock, yeah, I don't know where they got this, but like I said, I did cover this on my 1970s show, which if anybody hasn't seen it, go check that out because it got the most views. It's maybe like 150 views so far. And I have my hair up in the bouffant, and I'm covering, I'm covering the bands, the bands and the fads and so on and so forth. But anyway, let me get my glasses now. Backwards guitar. That was also big in the 70s too. A lot of backwards guitar. Like if you listen to Heart's Magic Man, those first first four bars, it was a backwards guitar lick. It was a backwards masking, and I remember somebody played it backwards too. And of course, both sound like, of course, it's a guitar lick, but the beginning of it was definitely backwards. Duh. Well, anybody can tell that. Anyway, let's see here. Let's see what else here. Let me find out. Both groups. Yeah, well, what happened with Terry Knight, it was rumored that he found the hard-living musos difficult to handle. They probably found him too much of a spangly figure. And at any rate, both groups, this one and Grand Funk Railroad, left him in 1972. He supposedly, on a side note of Grand Funk Railroad, I saw a Behind the Music on them for VH1. And Terry Knight, it's like they never really saw that money. I mean, they made a bunch, and of course, he took it all. And and you got to be careful. A lot of record producers, you think they're for the bands, and half the time it's for themselves, and it's a lot of greed. But sad to say, I think it was the year 2000, I think, right around New Year's or Christmas, Terry Knight got murdered. It was his daughter's boyfriend, I think, was beating her, and he went to go save her, and he stabbed him to death, and he died, which is sad. I mean, I really hate to say karma's a bitch, because I mean, he didn't deserve to die like that. But I mean, you rob from people. Like I said, what you do to others comes back to you in the long run. And I've seen this happen to many people. But anyway, let's see what else. They were hailed, yeah. Well, like I said, Grand Funk was hailed as the first true metal band. And then this group came out, and they had, like I said, acid rock. And one enthusiastic critic called them the heaviest rock band of all time. And Texas had been left out of the rock scene for too long. And it was released there. This album was released. They recorded it, I think it was late 1969. It was released in March of 1970. And again, it was quite a change. I mean, in the early 70s, I think heavy metal, well, the first real heavy metal bands supposedly were Blue Cheer, Vanilla Fudge, and Iron Butterfly were the first real metal bands. But I think who really put metal on the map in the first place was Black Sabbath. And Ozzy Osbourne is like the godfather of heavy metal. And just like when I covered Betty Davis, she was the queen of funk. The Funkadelics, like Parliament Funkadelic, George Clinton spearheaded both groups, and they were the godfathers of funk, and Betty Davis was the queen of funk. Well, you get my drift. But anyway, this about wraps it up. I'll give you a little bit of insight into maybe Bloodrock-a, which was their biggest selling album. And the big songs there, they kind of sound a little bit like Grand Funk. The very first song is called Lucky in the Morning, kind of reminds me of them. And some of the songs aren't really, I mean, it's a mixed bag. Some of them are better than others, but there's some that I really couldn't get into too much. I think the best songs on there were Lucky in the Morning. Sable and Pearl is okay. It's kind of mellow. Falling is good. And there's like some more called Dire Not a Lover, Fancy Space Odyssey, and of course DOA. So definitely check out Bloodrock DOA. And if you want to check out this album, just go right to YouTube. And if you want to hear the backwards masking, type in Bloodrock, Gotta Find a Way, and you'll hear it in the very beginning. So, well, anyway, let's see, where's the last tune, Melvin Laid an Egg? Like I said, I don't know what that's supposed to be about, but it reminds me of a freak show, you know, but I think he's describing a freak show either in his mind or his experiences. All right, Dana, take care. I'll talk to you soon. I'm glad you enjoyed it. This is definitely the hardest rocking, the heaviest tune on this album. The vocalist is Jim Rutledge. And I can picture, I don't know what he looks like, but I can picture a long-haired, of course, with the beard, the you know, the cliche, like this. But yeah, this, and like I said, that one that I played, Wicked Truth, is my favorite, I think, of all of it. But yeah, you can't help but get sucked into it, just like Black Sabbath or even Deep Purple. And speaking of which, speaking of Deep Purple, there's another album I think I'm going to cover tomorrow. I was supposed to cover this yesterday, but I wasn't feeling too well. So I figured, well, I'll do this today. And I normally do Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And so tomorrow at 1:30, I'm going to cover another album. And it's very, very, I mean, you think this is out there, which it really isn't. It's just little kind of, you know, they have little spookiness, kind of like a, ooh. Now it goes into this little jazz. Wow, I forgot about this. I haven't really listened to this CD in a while. And I completely forgot about this. Wow. Wow, what a change. Anyway, there's another album that I'm going to cover that I don't think anyone's ever heard of. And I went by curiosity. All the reviews are saying, oh my God, it's such a bad album. It's horrible. It's horrible. But if you're like me and you like this stuff, you'll think, what? That is completely wicked. What are they talking about? Well, I played it from my hubby, of course, and he loved it. So anyway, that's going to cover it for now. I know it's a little bit earlier than a half hour, but I figured this is about all I can cover for now. And I hope you enjoyed it. And I will see you all tomorrow at 1:30. Peace out and keep rocking. Bye.